I really think that so when people say like, should you have joint accounts or separate, or how do you come together financially as a family, you got to start with communication. It's like, figure out what that means for the person that you're with, and preferably try to find it out before you lock yourself into that person for life. I think that's important. I think a lot of people, it's crazy how people will expose their bodies to a person and expose their lives to a person and not even know anything about their financial future, their credit score, student loan debt, none of that stuff. Not have no idea if you're even financially compatible with this person. I think that's a huge mistake, and I think it leads to, and you see it everywhere. You see divorcees that are financially devastated because of things that maybe they could have figured out if they sort of took a step back and did some due diligence before you kind of got head over heels with this person. But I really think it's relationship specific. Like, there are things that my wife might bring to the table that another woman doesn't, but there might also be things that she will be concerned about that other women might not be concerned about. So out of respect for her, I have to just say, okay, I want to do this thing. I know that my wife is going to ask about this and this and this. I need to make sure that we talk through these things so that she feels like we're fully connected on this decision that we're about to make. So I don't think there's any hard fast rules about relationships and money. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think you need to know what you're getting into. I think you need to be transparent with each other about, before you make a true commitment, like a commitment like marriage, you know what you're getting into. What's your debt look like? And you have to be transparent. Some people feel ashamed for how much debt they've accumulated, and they don't want to further. And so, I mean, you have to try to figure out a way to talk about those things, even though it may be shameful. And even in those conversations, just say, I'm not proud of how much debt I have, how much credit card debt I have, student loan debt. I'm not really proud of that. And, some of the mistakes that you've made, that's where you talk about that, and it can really bring you closer together. Or you may see something and go, ooh, I don't know. I don't know if I can sign my name on that one.
Well, you know what it is? I think, I don't know. I'm trying to process that in terms of, like, if you had a bunch of financial problems, let's say you had a lot of debt and bad credit and you weren't that good with money and you didn't make much money, I would probably still marry you. But the thing is, like, I would marry you because I love you that much. And, well, no.
If I make terrible decisions with money, like, isn't that, like, I think love is essential, but I don't think love is the only thing.
It's not the only thing. It's not the only thing, right? And I can say this.
I don't know if I would marry a man who was sloppy with his money.
Right. And well, here's the thing, right? I wouldn't marry a woman who, or you, if you'd been financially irresponsible when I was financially vulnerable. Like, when I made less money, it would have been a very big deal because you'd have the ability to kind of push me over the tipping point. Whereas now, given that I'm financially secure and I kind of know where my assets are, if somebody overspends by a couple $100s here and there, that's not going to throw me off too much. I think it's and also I'm at a stage where money is just not that important to me anymore. It matters, but it's not the be all end all. I'm not going to miss out on the chance to be with somebody I love over money. However, I think everybody needs to figure out where they stand with that and get the information necessary to make that decision, because it really is a partnership. And when you set financial goals together and you accomplish those goals together, it makes you feel complete, and you get the satisfaction of knowing that you've actually developed something that becomes a worthy institution. Like, you and I have a business together, and we get to work together, and I find that to be quite a bit of fun. You know what I mean? So I think sort of taking your time to vet people out carefully before you lock up with them, and don't just think it comes down to how cute somebody is or how good the sex is. Like, I think that's what the mistake I see from a lot of people.
I know, and next week is Super Bowl Sunday, so I don't even know, are we even gonna meet next week? Oh, we're up against it. But one of the topics left that we haven't talked about was the financial infidelity. That's the last topic, and I don't know, like, at that point we have gone through all of our topics, by the way.
Okay.
And this is session number 10, so we have 9 other sessions. with the Prime program. And so all of you all are welcome to take a look at those. And if there is something that you've noticed that you'd like to see, because I think there's been a lot of new people that signed up for the Prime program. So if you take out time in your day, in your busy day, to look at some of the sessions, the 9 sessions before, and there's a workbook. Actually, the workbook is done, Boyce. The updated book. I sent it out to get fancy and stuff like that. So I sent that out. We can probably sell it to people too, because it's really good. But anyway, so the new workbook is done. And I got it edited really nicely, so it looks nice. And but I think that maybe we should spend some time talking about that, since we got this question about money conflict.
Yeah, maybe for next week, maybe for next Sunday, if you want to put together some slides.
Super Bowl Sunday?
Oh gosh, yeah, not Super Bowl Sunday, because I got to see if my Eagles are gonna pull it off. I'm cheering for the Eagles, by the way, in case anybody wants to know. Yeah, not next Sunday. So maybe the Sunday after that. But yeah, so I see a question here for Carnell, who says, I'm trying to learn stock options. When you get a chance, show me how to get started, or tell me where to look. I've enrolled in the Black Business School already. Thanks. Okay, Carnell. So 2 things. One, if you haven't done so yet, if you go to boycewatkins.com, I did a presentation called How to Make Money Without Working. That's something that's free for everybody. If you want to go take a look, just go to boycewatkins.com. It's right there at the top. And you can watch that presentation and see how you feel about the selling stock options, which is something that I love to talk about. Also, if you're in the Prime program already, drboyceprime.com. If you go to drboyceprime.com and you log in, you have plenty of stuff. Like, one of the benefits of the Prime membership is that you get access to the whole options investing masterclass, where I went through calls and puts and spreads and butterflies and condors and all the different option trading strategies that are out there. If you go through that, then you're going to be good with that. So feel free to go to drboyceprime.com and sign up there if you'd like, if you want, if that will benefit you. Or you can also go to stockoptionsmasterclass.com. That's stockoptionsmasterclass.com, or my website, boycewatkins.com. There's a lot of stuff. Also, for those of you that want to talk to Dr. Alicia directly, she's a couples therapist, and she's also a good therapist for individuals too. You can go to coachingwithdralicia.com. That's her website, coachingwithdralicia.com. All right, so next question.
And also the Prime students get a discount, 30% discount.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, next question. Put your question in the Q&A section so I can see it. I see your question in the chat, Preston. Put it in the Q&A section, and I'll answer it there. Okay, so let's see. Someone says, Dr. Boyce, what approach do you recommend with family whom are older as the best approach to start investing, like 45 and older? I think you can still do it. I think it's probably easier if everybody's over 45, because at least you're dealing with mature people that are further along in the financial life cycle. Like, they've lived some life, so they know the importance of money, and they're more likely to, be easier to work with. And a good way to increase your income really is to find those people that are in your space that you can connect to, and maybe just get together and just talk about opportunities and possibilities. Just talk about it. Just talk about money a little bit, and some things that you were thinking about doing, some things you got going on. I remember when our family did a lot of those types of meetings. We stopped doing them for a little bit, but we got to pick that back up. But we've had some health issues in our family, so it's not as easy. But one thing that we found was that it helped for everybody to know what everybody was doing, and for everybody to know what everybody wants. Right. And then you can find out what resources are available and things like that. So those family business meetings can be a great way for you to talk about just ways to make money. Because they're basically like 3 things you want to look for in when you're gathering ideas. One is you got to figure out, different ways to raise money and to get the capital you need to get your things off the ground. Number 2, you got to figure out where you're going to get your labor from. Right. So, or your skill. Right. So different people have different skills. So when you're talking to everybody in your family, you're sharing, you're skill sharing. You're telling each other, oh, I can do this, I can do that. I have some spare time. I can help out with that. And then the last piece is customers, right? Networks where someone is trying to sell something. Well, family members are great customers for that new business that you're starting. And you'd be surprised at how much your financial situation can be elevated just by finding something to sell to your friends or to your coworkers or whatever. Like that student who was a friend of my wife's, who does the CMOS. You know what I'm talking about? Was it Susan? Is that her name? Yeah. Alicia told me about it. I didn't even know she'd gone through the Black Business School. and she realized that her sea moss, everybody liked her sea moss, so she started making sea moss and selling it. And now her and her husband and her son all make sea moss all day because they're making so much money selling sea moss. So it doesn't take anything complicated. You just got to find something people want and sell it to them, and make a little bit of a profit. Next thing you know, your whole life is different. Let's see. Someone says, "How do you feel about these tiny homes?" I think they're kind of cool. There's a guy named Booker T. Washington and his brother George Washington Carver. Literally, those are their names. Yeah, they came out of their parents came out of Tuskegee, which you'll appreciate because your daddy taught at Tuskegee for 30 years. And so Alicia was actually born in Tuskegee, and her father, Dr. Francis Taylor. Say
John
again.
Andrews Hospital. I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, yeah, and her father, Dr. Francis Taylor, was on the faculty for a long time, for decades. But yeah, so Booker T is doing a tiny homes project. I think they call it Techie Homes in Atlanta, and I did a visit. I really liked it. I thought it was really good. I think people are really behind it. I think the price point was great. I think that their plan for building wealth is great. They're going to be very wealthy over time. Detroit has a tiny home community for low income people. Yeah, I think that this should be something people do all over the country. I think it's a no brainer, a slam dunk. So I'm a big fan of tiny homes. All right, Preston says, what about lending stocks? Yeah, they pay you interest to loan your stocks. I don't do it because I'm not real excited about 3 or 4% interest per year. That doesn't mean much to me. But if you have a lot of wealth and a lot of stock, and you want a place to put your money where it's going to be pretty safe, then you can loan your stocks out where people can sell your stocks and buy them back later. So borrowing stock and lending stock is a big deal. That happens a lot. All right, so it looks like we answered a lot of questions today. There's a lot to talk about. So I want to remind everybody, if you want to log in and see all the recorded sessions that we've done already, you can just go to loveandmoneymasterclass.com. That's loveandmoneymasterclass.com. We've done about 10 sessions now, right? And also, Dr. Alicia has workbooks and stuff like that that she has created, and we'll bring that in. Also, if you go to my website, boycewatkins.com, that's where you can find that presentation on how to make money without working. So feel free to go to my website. Alicia's website is coachingwithdralicia.com. That's coachingwithdralicia.com. And if you're in the Prime program, you guys will hear from me very soon on a text. And we're going to get together and we're going to talk about some stock option stuff. I'm going to take you guys not just through how to make money, make income by selling options, but we're going to dig into some other option strategies that I think you'll find really compelling and really interesting that don't require as much capital. So you look forward to hearing from me on a text message pretty soon. Did you have anything to say, babe, before we go?
That's it. Thank you for your questions. Session 11 will be in 2 weeks, I imagine, after the Super Bowl. We'll see.